Someone is sizing you up, deciding if you're worth their time, or if they can push you around, and you haven't even opened your mouth yet. In the next 3 seconds of meeting you, they've already decided, are you someone who commands respect, or someone they can ignore? Look, most people walk through life completely blind to this invisible game everyone else is playing. There's a silent language happening all around you, and if you don't speak it, you lose by default. I'm going to show you exactly how this works, the 6 ways people read you before you say a word, and how to flip the script so you're the one in control. This is not some feel-good nonsense, this is what actually happens when 2 people meet, backed by real psychology, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Chapter 1, The First Impression Advantage. Here's something that'll probably sting a little, but you need to hear it. Most people have already lost the game before they even know they're playing it. You walk into a coffee shop, a meeting, a party, and within 3 seconds, everyone there has sized you up and made their decision. Are you someone they need to pay attention to, or can they safely ignore you? Watch what happens when most people enter a room. They hesitate at the door, maybe look around nervously, shuffle in like they're not sure they belong there. That hesitation, that's you telling everyone, I'm not important. But there's something I call the presidential walk, and it changes everything. You know how a president walks into a room? They don't rush, they don't apologize for being there, they move like the room exists for them. Here's how you do it. Before you even touch the door handle, pause for 1 second, take a breath, and remind yourself of one simple truth: you belong here just as much as anyone else. Then, when you walk through that door, move like you own the building. Not arrogant, just confident. Your shoulders back, your head up, and here's the key part: walk at about 70% of your normal speed. Most people rush when they're nervous. Slowing down signals confidence. It says, I'm in no hurry because I know I matter. The eye contact formula. Now, once you're in the room, this is where most people completely blow it. They look down, they check their phone, they find something fascinating about the floor. But here's what actually happens when you make eye contact with someone: you're basically saying, I see you, and I'm not afraid of being seen. The rule is simple: when you lock eyes with someone, hold it for exactly 3 seconds, then look away naturally. Not down, that's submission, look to the side or past them. Why 3 seconds? Less than that, you seem nervous. More than that, you're staring and it gets weird. But here's the thing most people don't know: whoever looks away first, loses. It's primal. It goes back thousands of years when breaking eye contact meant, you're stronger than me. I call this the laser focus method. When you're talking to someone, especially someone trying to intimidate you, look directly at the spot right between their eyebrows. To them, it feels like intense eye contact, but it's actually easier for you to maintain. Body positioning psychology. Alright, here's where it gets really interesting. Your body is constantly sending signals, and most people are broadcasting weakness without even knowing it. Stand up right now if you can. I want to show you something called the triangle of power stance. Plant your feet about shoulder width apart, but here's the key: turn your toes out slightly, maybe 15 degrees. This creates a triangle base, and it makes you look more stable, more grounded, harder to push around. Now, here's a weird trick that actually works: if you want to appear larger and more imposing, take up more space. Sounds obvious, but most people do the opposite when they're nervous: they shrink. Put your hands on your hips, or clasp them behind your back, or let them hang naturally at your sides. Never, and I mean never, cross your arms in front of your chest. That's defensive body language. It screams, I'm protecting myself because I feel threatened. And here's something that'll blow your mind: the amount of space you take up literally changes how people see you. Stand too close, you seem desperate for attention. Stand too far, you seem like you don't belong. The sweet spot. About an arm's length away from whoever you're talking to, close enough to show you're engaged, far enough to maintain your power. Pause this video right now and try this. Stand up, do the presidential walk across your room, practice the triangle of power stance, and if you can actually feel the difference, if you're serious about never being overlooked again, type "I command respect" in the comments. Let's see who's really paying attention. Chapter 2, The Silent Authority Framework. Remember at the beginning when I said people judge you in 3 seconds? Well, this is exactly how you control what they see, and it's going to feel like cheating. Most people think conversations are about talking, but the real pros know, it's about controlling the silence between the words. The pause of power. Here's something that'll make you uncomfortable at first, but it's incredibly powerful. When someone asks you a question, don't answer immediately. Count to 5 in your head, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, all the way to 5. Watch what happens, they start to squirm. They'll repeat the question, or add more information, or apologize for asking. Why? Because silence makes people nervous, and nervous people give away their power. I learned this from watching lawyers. The best ones never rush to respond. They pause, they think, and that pause says, "What you just said is so important. I need to consider it carefully." But here's the thing, most people fill silence because they're afraid of it. They think silence means something's wrong, or they're boring, or the other person is judging them. But confident people, they're comfortable with silence. Try this tomorrow, when someone's talking to you, instead of jumping in the moment they stop, wait 3 seconds. Just sit with the silence. 9 times out of 10, they'll keep talking, and they'll usually tell you something they didn't mean to share. Mirroring and matching mastery. Now, here's where it gets really sneaky. Your brain has this weird quirk, it likes people who are similar to you. And I mean, really likes them. So when you subtly copy how someone sits, how they move their hands, even how fast they talk, their subconscious mind starts thinking, "This person gets me." I call it the shadow method, because you become their shadow, but so subtle they never notice. If they lean forward, you lean forward about 10 seconds later. If they cross their legs, you cross yours, but not immediately, that's too obvious. Wait a beat, make it feel natural. Here's the crazy part, when you do this right, they'll start to mirror you back. You've literally hijacked their nervous system, and now they're following your lead without knowing it. But don't go crazy with this, if you copy everything they do, you'll look like a psychopath. Pick one thing, maybe how they hold their coffee cup, or how they gesture with their hands, and subtly match it. Watch their face when you do this, you'll actually see them relax. Their brain is going, "Okay, this person is like me. I can trust them." The authority posture system. Alright, now let's talk about how to sit and stand like someone who owns the place. Because here's the truth, your posture is doing more talking than your mouth ever will. First, your hands. Most people don't know what to do with their hands, so they fidget, they play with their phone, they tap on things. All of that screams, "I'm nervous and I don't know what I'm doing." Here's what confident people do with their hands, they either clasp them behind their back, rest them calmly on a table, or let them hang naturally at their sides. Never in your pockets, that looks like you're hiding something. And here's a power move that works every time, when you're sitting, don't lean back in your chair like you're watching TV. Sit forward slightly, like you're interested but not desperate. It shows engagement without neediness. But the real game changer is what I call the CEO stance, and I learned this from watching actual CEOs. When they stand, their shoulders are back but not rigid, their chin is parallel to the ground, never up like they're arrogant, never down like they're ashamed. And here's the secret sauce, they take up exactly the amount of space they're entitled to, no more, no less. They don't shrink to make others comfortable, but they don't spread out to dominate either. The result? People automatically assume they're in charge, because they look like someone who's used to being in charge. Try this right now, sit up straighter, pull your shoulders back just a little, and notice how different you feel. Your body language doesn't just affect how others see you, it actually changes how you see yourself. Chapter 3, Reading People Like an Open Book. Decode anyone's true intentions instantly. Okay, this next part is going to blow your mind. While everyone else is listening to what people say, you're about to learn how to see what they're really thinking. Most people are terrible liars, but they think they're fooling everyone. The truth is, their body is constantly betraying them, and once you know what to look for, it's like having X-ray vision into their soul. The 7 Universal Tells. Here's something most people don't realize: your face makes about 10,000 micro-expressions every day, tiny little muscle movements that happen faster than you can control them. And these tell the real story. Tell number 1, watch their eyebrows. When someone's genuinely surprised, both eyebrows shoot up at exactly the same time. When they're faking it, one goes up slightly before the other. It's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Tell number 2, the mouth. Real smiles use the whole face, the eyes crinkle, the cheeks lift. Fake smiles, just the mouth moves. It's like they're wearing a mask. But here's where it gets really interesting. Tell number 3, when people lie, they unconsciously touch their face more. They'll rub their nose, touch their ear, cover their mouth. It's like their body is trying to hide the lie. Tell number 4, foot direction. This one's huge. People's feet always point toward what they want, or where they want to go. If someone's talking to you but their feet are pointed toward the door, they want to leave. If their feet are pointed at someone else in the group, that's who they're really interested in. Tell number 5, crossed arms aren't always defensive, but watch when they cross them. If it happens right after you say something, you've hit a nerve. Tell number 6, the throat. When people are stressed or lying, they swallow more, they clear their throat, they touch their neck. It's like their body is choking on the lie. And tell number 7, this one's my favorite, the shoulder shrug. When someone says they're confident about something but gives you a tiny shoulder shrug, they're full of it. Their body is literally saying, I don't know. The emotional temperature check. Now, let's talk about reading an entire room. Every group has an emotional temperature, and most people walk into situations completely blind to it. Here's how you read the room in under 10 seconds. First, look at people's positioning. Are they leaning toward each other or away? Are they forming tight circles or loose groups? Tight circles mean exclusive conversations, loose groups mean they're open to newcomers. Second, watch the energy flow. In every group, there's usually one person everyone else is subtly oriented toward. Not necessarily the loudest person, but the one everyone keeps glancing at, the one people wait for before they laugh at a joke. That's your real decision maker, and it's almost never who you think it is. Here's a trick that works every time: when you walk into a room, don't immediately join a conversation. Stand back for 30 seconds, just observe. You'll see the power dynamics play out right in front of you. Watch who interrupts who apologizes when they speak, who gets listened to and who gets ignored. Within half a minute, you'll know exactly who has real influence and who's just making noise. The power player identification system. Alright, here's where most people get it completely wrong. They think the power player is the person talking the most, or the one with the fancy title, or the one making the most noise. Dead wrong. Real power is quiet. The actual leader in the room. They're usually the one asking questions instead of giving answers. They're the one people check with before making decisions. They're comfortable with silence while everyone else fills the air with chatter. I call this the alpha recognition technique, and it's based on one simple truth: real alphas don't need to prove they're alphas. Look for the person who speaks last in group decisions, who others unconsciously mirror, who can change the mood of the room just by shifting their energy. That's your real power player. And here's something that'll save you from embarrassing yourself: pretenders always overdo it. They talk too much, they name drop, they constantly remind you how important they are. Real leaders, They assume you already know. Watch this at your next meeting. The person everyone's really listening to probably says the least. But when they do speak, the room goes quiet. Look, if you're getting real value from this, if you're starting to see people differently already, hit that like button. And if you want to become someone who can read any room and never get played again, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Because what's coming next, the intimidation techniques, that's where things get really interesting. Chapter 4, the intimidation without aggression method. Command fear and respect simultaneously. Think about the most powerful person you know. I guarantee they use at least 3 of these techniques naturally. The difference is, you're about to do it consciously. Here's what most people get wrong about intimidation. They think it's about being loud, or aggressive, or mean. But real intimidation, it's the complete opposite. It's about being so calm, so controlled, that people sense there's something dangerous underneath. You know that feeling when you meet someone who seems totally relaxed, but something about them makes you not want to test them? That's what I call the calm storm presence. It's like meeting a sleeping lion. Sure, it looks peaceful, but you instinctively know you don't want to poke it. Here's how this works. When most people get angry or threatened, their energy goes up, they get loud, they get tense. But people with real power, they get quieter, they get stiller, they get more focused. I call this the iceberg effect, because what people see on the surface is maybe 10% of what's really there. The other 90%, that stays hidden, but everyone can sense it's there. Try this. Next time someone disrespects you, instead of reacting immediately, pause, lower your voice, and speak slower than normal. Don't smile, don't frown, just neutral intensity. Watch what happens. They'll actually get more nervous than if you had yelled at them. Because now they don't know what you're capable of, and that unknown is terrifying. The key is controlled intensity, like a pressure cooker that's perfectly sealed. All that power is contained, but everyone can feel it building underneath. Here's something that'll change how you think about social dynamics. Predictable people get walked on. When people know exactly how you'll react, they can manipulate you. But when you're strategically unpredictable, when people can't quite figure you out, they have to respect you, because they don't know what you might do. I'm not talking about being crazy or erratic, that just makes you seem unstable. I'm talking about calculated mystery, being pleasant one moment, completely serious the next, friendly but with clear boundaries. Most people are like open books. You meet them once and you know their whole personality. But mysterious people, they keep you guessing, and that makes you think about them more. Here's a practical example. Sometimes when someone makes a joke at your expense, laugh along. Other times, for the exact same type of joke, just stare at them without smiling until they get uncomfortable. They'll never know which version of you they're going to get, so they'll be more careful around you. The goal isn't to be fake, it's to show different parts of your personality at different times, so people never feel like they have you completely figured out. Now, this is probably the most important part, because without boundaries, all the other techniques are worthless. Most people think boundaries are about what you say, but real boundaries, they're about what you won't tolerate, and how you respond when someone crosses them. Here's the thing, people are constantly testing your boundaries, even if they don't realize it. They'll make little comments, small disrespectful acts, just to see what you'll let slide. And every time you let something slide that you shouldn't, you're teaching them that your boundaries are optional. So, here's how you draw invisible lines that people won't cross. First, you decide ahead of time what you will and won't accept. Not in the heat of the moment, but when you're calm and thinking clearly. Then, the first time someone crosses that line, you respond immediately, but not emotionally. You don't get angry, you don't explain yourself, you just stop it. I call this the stone wall technique, because when someone throws disrespect at you, it just hits the wall and stops. Let's say someone interrupts you while you're talking. Instead of getting flustered or talking louder, you just stop talking and stare at them until they realize what they've done. Or if someone makes a comment that crosses your boundary, you don't argue with them, you don't defend yourself, you just say something like, "That's not happening," and change the subject. The key is, no emotion, no explanation, no negotiation. Just a wall that their disrespect can't penetrate. And here's what's crazy, once people realize your boundaries are real, that you're not going to bend or break or make exceptions, they actually start respecting you more. Because deep down, everyone wants to know where the lines are. It makes them feel safer when they know what's acceptable and what isn't. Chapter 5, Advanced Psychological Warfare. The Chess Master's Guide to Human Psychology. Earlier I mentioned that you'd never enter a room the same way again. After this next technique, you'll never leave a room the same way either. Alright, we're getting into the deep stuff now. What I'm about to show you, most people will never learn this, because it requires you to think 3 moves ahead while everyone else is just reacting. This is psychological chess, and once you understand these patterns, you'll see them everywhere, and you'll never be the same. Here's something that goes against everything you've been taught: sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do, is nothing. Sometimes, the best move, is to disappear. Most people think availability equals value. They're always there, always responding, always ready to help. And what happens? People take them for granted. But scarcity? Scarcity creates value. Think about it, which restaurant has better food, the one that's always empty, or the one where you need a reservation? Your brain automatically assumes the busy one is better, even if you've never eaten at either. The same principle works with people. When you're always available, always the first to respond, always eager to please, you become common. And common things, people don't value. Here's how strategic withdrawal works: you build connection first, you show people what it's like to have your attention, your energy, your presence. Then, at the peak of their interest, you pull back. Not permanently, not rudely, you just become less available. You respond slower. You're busy when they want to hang out. You leave conversations while they're still interesting. And something weird happens in their brain: they start thinking about you more. They start wondering what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not as available as before. You've created what I call controlled scarcity, and now they want more of what they can't easily get. Now, here's where it gets really sneaky. Your brain has this quirk: it links emotions to experiences, and experiences to people. And if you know how to manipulate those links, you can make people associate you with whatever feeling you want. This is called emotional anchoring, and advertisers use it all the time. Ever notice how commercials play happy music when they show their product? They're trying to anchor happiness to their brand. You can do the same thing with yourself. Every time you interact with someone, you want to leave them feeling slightly better than before they met you. Not obviously, not fake, just a little boost. Maybe you give them a genuine compliment about something others miss. Maybe you make them laugh. Maybe you just listen to them in a way that makes them feel heard. The key is consistency. Every single interaction should leave them with a tiny positive emotional residue. After enough interactions, their brain starts thinking, good things happen when this person is around. This creates what psychologists call the halo effect. One positive association spreads to everything about you. They start attributing qualities to you that you never even demonstrated, just because their overall feeling about you is positive. But here's the really advanced part: you can anchor yourself to their highest moments. When they're celebrating something, when they're excited about an achievement, when they're feeling on top of the world, that's when you want to be present. Their brain will remember you as part of that peak experience, and they'll unconsciously crave your presence because it's linked to their best feelings. The reverse psychology arsenal. Alright, this last part is probably the most powerful, and the most dangerous. What I'm about to show you, use it wisely, because once you understand this, you'll see how manipulated you've been your whole life. Human psychology has this massive flaw: we want what we can't have, and we lose interest in what comes too easily. It's called the push-pull dynamic, and it's everywhere. The friend who only calls when they need something, but somehow you keep answering. The romantic interest who's hot and cold, but you can't stop thinking about them. They're unconsciously using push-pull on you, pushing you away just enough to create tension, then pulling you back in before you lose interest completely. Here's how you use this ethically: you give people just enough of what they want to keep them interested, but not so much that they take you for granted. In conversations, you engage fully for a while, then you check your phone, then you're back. You're interested in them, but you're not desperate for their approval. You show up to some social events, but not all of them. You're helpful when they really need it, but you're not their go-to person for every little problem. This creates psychological tension. Their brain is constantly trying to figure out: do they like me? Are we friends? What's their deal? And that tension, that uncertainty, that's addictive. Because humans hate unsolved puzzles, so they keep coming back, trying to figure you out. But here's the thing: you can't fake this. If you're doing it just to manipulate people, they'll sense the agenda underneath. It only works when it comes from a place of genuine self-respect, when you actually value your own time and energy enough to be selective about how you spend it. The most powerful people I know, they're not trying to use push-pull on anyone. They just naturally have so much going on, so many options, that they can't give everyone their full attention all the time. And that natural scarcity, that authentic selectivity, that's what makes people chase them. Chapter 6: The Master's Mindset. Thinking like someone who can't be touched. Here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to admit: all those techniques I just taught you, they're completely useless if your mind is still weak. You can walk into a room with perfect posture, master everybody's language trick, read people like a book, but if deep down you're still seeking approval, still afraid of what others think, people will sense it, and they'll exploit it. What separates the truly untouchable from everyone else isn't what they do, it's how they think. And most people, they're walking around with the mental software of a victim, wondering why nothing changes. Let me ask you something, and be honest: how much of your day is spent thinking about what other people think of you? How much energy do you waste trying to figure out if someone likes you, if you said the right thing, if you looked stupid? Most people burn through half their mental energy just managing other people's opinions. And that's exactly why they never develop real power. Here's what I learned from studying people who genuinely don't care what others think, and I mean the ones who really don't care, not the ones who pretend they don't care while secretly obsessing over every interaction. They've built what I call the fortress mind. Picture a medieval castle, massive stone walls, deep moat, everything designed to keep threats out. That's what their mind looks like when it comes to other people's judgments. But here's the thing most people get wrong: they think building mental toughness means becoming cold, or mean, or shutting everyone out. Dead wrong. The strongest people I know, they're actually more open than most, more genuine, more willing to be vulnerable. Because when you're not afraid of judgment, you can afford to be real. Here's how you build this, starting right now. Every time you catch yourself worrying about what someone thinks, ask yourself one simple question: will this matter in 5 years? 99% of the time, the answer is no. That awkward thing you said, that weird look someone gave you, that moment you felt embarrassed, in 5 years, nobody will remember it, including you. But here's the deeper level: even if they do remember, even if they judge you, even if they don't like you, so what? Their opinion doesn't pay your bills, doesn't determine your worth, doesn't control your future. I call this the so what technique, and it's incredibly liberating. Someone doesn't like how you dress. So what? Someone thinks you're weird. So what? Someone doesn't want to be your friend. So what? You're not here to be everyone's favorite person, you're here to live your life on your terms. Now, this next part is going to sound cold, but it's actually the kindest thing you can do for both yourself and others. You need to stop caring so much about everything. I don't mean become heartless. I mean develop what I call strategic emotional detachment. You care about outcomes, but you're not attached to them. You want things to go well, but you'll be fine if they don't. Most people are like emotional ping-pong balls, bouncing off every interaction, every slight, every disappointment. Someone's rude to them, their whole day is ruined. Someone doesn't text back, they spiral into self-doubt. But people with real power, they operate from what I call observer mode. They watch what happens, they process the information, but they don't let external events dictate their internal state. Think about it like this: you're watching a movie. The characters are stressed, panicking, fighting, but you're just sitting in your chair, eating popcorn, watching the story unfold. You care about what happens, but you're not emotionally wrecked by every plot twist. That's how you need to approach real life. You're the observer, not the victim of circumstances. Here's a practical way to develop this: when something goes wrong, when someone disappoints you, when plans fall through, pause for 5 seconds and remind yourself, I'm watching this happen, not drowning in it. This creates what psychologists call emotional regulation. Instead of being reactive, you become responsive. Instead of being controlled by your emotions, you use them as information. And here's what's weird: when you stop being desperate for certain outcomes, you often get better results. Because desperation repels people, but calm confidence attracts them. When you're not attached to getting a specific job, you interview better. When you're not desperate for someone to like you, they're more likely to be interested. When you're not panicking about a situation, you make better decisions. It's like the universe rewards you for not needing things so badly. Alright, this last section is about playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Most people are focused on winning today's conversation, looking good in this moment, getting immediate results. But masters? They're playing the long game. They're building something that lasts. I call this legacy thinking, and it changes everything about how you show up in the world. Instead of asking, how do I look good right now? You start asking, what kind of person do I want to be known as? Because here's the thing about reputation, it's like compound interest. Every interaction, every decision, every time you choose to be consistent with your values, it builds. And over time, that consistency becomes your brand. People start saying things like, oh, that's just how they are, or, you can always count on them for that, or, they don't play games. And when you have that kind of reputation, you don't need to prove yourself anymore. Your track record speaks for you. Think about someone you know who has unshakable credibility, someone whose word is gold, someone who never has to convince anyone they're trustworthy. How did they get there? One decision at a time. One interaction at a time. One moment of integrity at a time. They decided who they wanted to be, and then they consistently showed up as that person, even when it was inconvenient, especially when it was inconvenient. Here's how you start building this. Right now, today, decide on 3 non-negotiable standards for yourself. 3 things that define who you are, no matter what. Maybe it's, I always tell the truth, or I keep my word, or I treat people with respect even when they don't deserve it. Whatever your 3 standards are, write them down, and then, for the next 30 days, be absolutely fanatical about living up to them. No exceptions, no excuses, no, just this once. Watch what happens. People start to see you differently. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because consistency is rare, and rare things are valuable. And here's the beautiful part: once you've established this kind of reputation, it protects you. When someone tries to spread gossip about you, people don't believe it, because it doesn't match what they know about you. When someone tries to manipulate you, it doesn't work, because your standards aren't negotiable. When someone tries to intimidate you, they fail, because you're not playing their short-term game, you're building something bigger. That's what real power looks like, not dominating others, but being so solid in who you are, that nothing can shake you. If this is clicking for you, if you can see how different your life would be with this kind of unshakable foundation, leave a comment that says, Fortress Mind. I want to see who's really ready to stop being pushed around by life, and start being the kind of person others look up to. I need to tell you something that might sting, but you need to hear it. Right now, someone somewhere is getting promoted over someone more qualified, someone is getting the relationship they want while others get ignored, someone is walking into rooms and immediately becoming the center of attention, while others fade into the background. What's the difference? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not who they know. It's this: they understand something that most people refuse to accept. Here's the truth most people will never accept. The world doesn't owe you respect, you have to command it. Every single day, people are sizing you up, testing your boundaries, and deciding whether you're worth their time. You can either learn to play this game at the highest level, or spend your life wondering why others seem to have all the power while you're left hoping for scraps of attention. I know that hurts, because you were probably told that if you're just nice enough, just smart enough, just work hard enough, people will notice you. They'll respect you. They'll give you what you deserve. But look around, how's that working out? The nicest people you know, are they the most successful? The hardest workers, are they the ones getting recognition? The smartest people in your office, are they the ones making decisions? Usually, no. Because there's an invisible game happening all around you, and nobody taught you the rules. While you were busy being qualified, someone else was busy being memorable. While you were waiting for permission, someone else was taking control. This isn't fair, it's just reality. But here's what I want you to understand, and this is important: you're not broken. You're not defective. You're not missing some special gene that other people have. You just never learned this stuff, because nobody teaches it. Your parents didn't know it, your teachers didn't know it, your friends probably don't know it either. But now you do. And that means you have a choice to make. Most people will watch this entire video, feel inspired for about 10 minutes, and then go right back to being invisible. They'll bookmark this, maybe even take some notes, but they won't actually change anything. They'll keep waiting for the world to recognize their value, keep hoping that someday, somehow, things will just get better on their own. But you're not most people, are you? You're someone who recognizes that in a world full of followers, being able to lead without saying a word isn't just useful, it's essential for survival. You understand that every day you don't use this knowledge, is another day someone else gets what should have been yours. Another day you stay invisible while others shine. And you're done with that. You're done being overlooked, underestimated, taken for granted. You're done watching from the sidelines while others play the game you didn't even know existed. Because here's what I know about you, just from the fact that you're still watching, you have something inside you that refuses to settle. Something that knows you're capable of more than what you're currently getting. That voice in your head that says, "I deserve better than this," that's not arrogance, that's truth. You do deserve better, but deserving it isn't enough. You have to claim it. And everything I've shown you, every technique, every principle, every psychological insight, it's not just information, it's ammunition. It's your weapon against a world that profits from keeping you small. So what's it going to be? Are you going to close this video, feel good for a moment, and then go back to hoping things change by themselves? Or are you going to decide, right here, right now, that this is the moment everything shifts? That this is where you stop being a passenger in your own life, and start driving? Because I can promise you this, 6 months from now, you'll either be grateful you made this decision, or you'll be wishing you had. The choice is yours, but you have to make it now, while that fire is still burning, before doubt creeps back in, before you convince yourself you don't need this. You do need this, and deep down, you know it. If this video just changed how you see social dynamics forever, show me by hitting that like button and subscribing with notifications on. And here's what I want you to do right now: pick one technique from today's masterclass and use it in your next human interaction. Then come back and tell me in the comments what happened. I read every single one. Remember, silent power is the highest form of strength. Master it, and you'll never need to raise your voice to be heard.